Plan XVII in Roman numerals, meaning Plan 17, was the name of the scheme for mobilization and concentration that was adopted by the French Collège Supérieur de la Guerre, the peacetime title of the French General Staff from 1912 to 1914, to be put into effect by the French army in the event of war between France and Germany. Though it is not a feasible narrative for the campaign, prescribed narrative for the campaign or battle plan, the deployment made possible to promote invasion into Germany or Belgium before Germany could mobilize its reserve. Simultaneously to a Russian invasion in East Prussia, the plan was implemented from the 7th of August 1914 with disastrous consequences for the French, who were defeated at the Battle of the Frontiers, which lasted from the 7th of August, of course, to the 13th of September 1914, at the cost of 329,000 casualties. The French northern armies were forced into a retreat as far as the Marne River, where the first Battle of the Marne. From the 5th to the 12th of September, the German armies were defeated and forced back to the Aisne River. General Victor Constant Michel, Vice President of the Council Supérieur de la Guerre in 1910, was more confident than Delacroix for a German move through Belgium because of the obstacle of France's defensive in Lorraine and the terrain in East Belgium and Germany's railroad building. Michael thought that the Germans would make their main effort into central Belgium, and that covering a longer front would need the organization of French reserve units and integrate into an act with the integration with the active army. The council rejected his views in 1911, which caused Michel to resign, as he considered the deployment from Belfort to Missouri and an offensive towards the Artois, Brussels, and Namur as the first possible ways to respond. Joseph Joffre was eventually appointed, and functions of the Vice President of the Council with Chief of Staff of the Army were combined. In October 1911, the strategic assignment was delivered as a plan to comprehensively rebuild. Joffre had rewritten Plan XVII, which was Plan 16, by September the 6th, increasingly the number of troops in the Belgian frontiers, although not as much as Michael had advocated, by shifting forces from the Italian border, incorporating the second line of reserve units into the front lines. The 5th Army was assembled further left to the Meuse, and the 6th Army was to move closer to Verdun and the Belgian borders west of Luxembourg. The amended version of Plan XVII, Plan 16, put 7 corps closer to the Belgian border, which guarded against the German advance across from around Verdun or as far as Verdun or Meuse, and Joffre increased emphasis on the immediate offensive. Joffre continued to work on the plan and the possibility of a German move through Belgium, which 3 alternatives were inferred: that the Germans would respect Belgian and Luxembourgian neutrality, and the attack of Belfort, Erpan, and Troyes Verdun lines, or advance through Luxembourg and the vicinity of Verdun. They make a smaller attack into Belgium or defend the Lorraine. An attack through Belgium, the third possibility, was considered likely because the French knew that a recent German war game had news to German fortifications around Metz and Tyrolville. Germany improvements into the fortifications at Metz and Tyrolville led Joffre to believe that the Germans certainly would attack through Belgium, and also that Belgium was the only place where France could fight a defensive battle against the Germans, or against Germany. On the 9th of January 1912, the Conseil de Supreme de la Joie arranged that the French army could enter Belgium. Wait, hold on, let me just make sure. On January the 9th, 1912, the Conseil Supérieur de la Joie agreed that the French army could enter Belgium, but only when news had arrived that the Germans had done so. The council had considered industrial mobilization and the slow speed of deployment of heavy artillery, and agreed to increase the ammunition stock from 1,280 shells per gun to 1,500. Soon afterwards, command of the French army centralized and abolished the Army Chief of Staff and vesting powers in Joffre as Chief of the General Staff, but Joffre's attempts to gain permission to ignore Belgian neutrality were rebuffed. An offensive strategy required the adaptation field of operations, and Belgium was the only place where the terrain was suitable, but Belgian and British sensitivities remained paramount. Despite the matter of Belgian neutrality, Joffre remained favourable as an offensive rather than a defensive offensive strategy, and the benefits of compelling the Germans to fight on two fronts since 1894, the alliance with Russia, had included a convention that both countries would treat Germany as the principal enemy, which was reaffirmed in 1910 at the subsequent staff talks. Joffre indicated that the French army would attack the northeast, and the desirability of a counter-current Russian offensive, but still considered a French attack in Lorraine possible. The French offensive was defeated in a few days, on the right of the 1st and 2nd armies advancing on the 14th of August, and were back after their jumping off points in August 20th. The French offensive was defeated in a few days, on the right of the 1st and 2nd armies advancing on the 14th of August, and were back at their jumping off points on the 20th of August. The offensive of the 3rd and 4th armies was defeated from the 21st to the 23rd of August, and the 5th army was defeated at Chambry and forced to return during the same period. Joffre's strategy failed due to underestimating the German army and the desperation of the French offensive effort. With a large German army force operating in Belgium, the German centre had appeared to be vulnerable for the 3rd and 4th army, but the mistaken impression of the size of the German force in Belgium, or its approach route, was not significant as the faulty information about the strength of the German armies opposite of the 3rd and 4th armies. Joffre laid blame on the others and claimed that French infantry had failed to show offensive spirit despite the outnumbering German armies at their most vulnerable point, a claim that Doughty called pure balderdash. Pure balderdash, of course, Joffre, pure balderdash. The reality was that many of the French casualties were said to have come from the excess of offensives at Vergil on the 23rd of August. General Pierre Ruffy concluded that the infantry had attacked without artillery preparation or supporting fire during the battle. Early on the 24th of August, Joffre ordered a withdrawal into the lines from Verdun to Messieurs and Marburg, and began to transfer troops from the east, opposite of the German border, to the western flank. The French army were to destroy railway facilities and inflict as many casualties as possible on the German armies while retreating. On the 25th of August, Joffre issued General Instruction Number 2 for a withdrawal to the line from Verdun to Reims to Amiens, and the assembly of 2 corps and the 4th Reserve Division near Amiens. To carry out the envelopment operation, Joffre called for a much greater integration of the infantry and artillery for the most tactical dispersal of infantry to nullify German firepower.